It's been a little while since I last took a look at some of the up-and-coming mods for Fallout 4. We've had a ton of great mod releases in 2020, but as far as new teases, things have been relatively slow. That was until the Fallout 2 Remake mod, whose name I always mispronounce, did reach out with a ton of new images and teasers around what's coming next with the project. We've talked about several Remake mods on this channel, but the ones I get the most excited about are those involving the original Fallout games. Due to the gameplay style within them, many people have passed these up or just couldn't get into the games like they could with some of the 3D Fallouts. Although they are an essential and critical part of the Fallout lore and honestly just good games in general from a story perspective. So as of late, we've gotten several teases of some of the world space coming from this mod. Some of the more notable locations from Fallout 2 making a return in Fallout 4. We get a look at the Toxic Caves, which was a radioactive cave that had a lot of geckos within it in Fallout 2. Separately, we get a look at one of the major settlements around this, that with Klamath. This was just one of the major towns in Fallout 2, functioning fairly similar to a lot of the towns you could find in the modern Fallout games. And with these two in particular, I think when you actually look at their appearance in Fallout 2, but then see the remake in Fallout 4, it really does highlight how good of a job this mod project is doing at taking a 2D world space and adapting that to 3D. With many of the other remake projects out there, it's fairly easy to just load up Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 3, take a look at how things were done previously, and remodel that or recreate that. But this one, getting scale and spacing right is actually a critical aspect, and I feel like thus far from these teases, they're clearly doing a very good job. On one hand, looking very true to form and reminiscent of what they were previously, but at the same time, also looking appropriate for a Fallout 4 engine. Separate from that, they actually show recreations of other notable landmarks. In the background, I'll try and show you a bit of a before and after from Fallout 2 to the Fallout 2 Remake mod, but a lot of these look really great, really get me excited to experience this and explore this world space in a totally different and unique way. But even outside of that, there are several other assets they have shared teasers for, whether it be some of the weapons that will be making a return with this mod, or even concept art for some of the robots or other enemies you may encounter. All of this, of course, looking very, very cool. Overall with this mod, I feel like it's one of the lesser known of the remake mods, but it really doesn't deserve to be. A Fallout 2 Remake, I think, has the potential to be one of the most successful because you just can't experience that game in a 3D world right now. Already, this team has a significant amount of work done on the world space and has continuously been posting teasers as far as their updates go month to month. And if you want to hear more or find out more about their progress, I will provide links to all of their social media down below. Although with that mod project, one of the things they have to recreate with it is a take on the Pip-Boy 2000 Mark I. Although the Pip-Boy 2000 is something we've seen very recently, most notably with Fallout 76. A totally separate mod that also is on the way is a remake of Fallout 76's Pip-Boy, otherwise known as the Pip-Boy 2000 Mark II, just bringing that into Fallout 4. To me, this is a superior design and just a bit of a more intricate one to the Pip-Boy 3000 that is traditionally in Bethesda's Fallouts. And Pip-Boy mods in particular are very valuable for Fallout 4 as it's one of those things you use literally all the time. You probably spend more hours looking at this singular thing than almost any other item in game, and as such, having a good or enjoyable one is pretty important. Although speaking of things that you want to spend a lot of time looking at, we also do have another update around the M2 Flamethrower. This is technically an already released mod for Fallout 4, but a very large update is on the way for it. You've seen in the past several of the things this update will be adding, more unique customization options to make it fit in a bit more appropriately with Fallout 4, but even other things like flamethrower enemies exploding when shot, which is just an awesome feature and something I'm very excited to experience. And just visually, this update is really going to overhaul things, and that alone gets me very excited. And just recently, we got some more teases of this, proving that it, 1, is still a work in progress and on the way, but 2, showing some more of the customization options that will be coming. And I feel like with the Flamethrower mod, you could just never have enough gas tanks. It is one of the essential parts of the mod overall. Although speaking of things you spend a lot of time looking at, we also do have an update around FLORA. It's a brand new environmental mod on its way to Fallout 4, but also a bit of a different one. It's being worked on by Spiffy Sky Trooper, and if you're not familiar with his name, you're definitely familiar with his mods. This is the mod author behind Dust Bowl Overhaul, Rust Belt FLORA, or even Regrowth Overhaul, one of his most well-known mods. He also does have a hidden gem out there with the Lost Vault, which not too many people know about. so arguably the mod author behind the best environmental mods for Fallout 4 thus far. Well, his next project may be just one of his largest, as what FLORA is going to do is actually edit Fallout 4's Commonwealth overall, bring different environments and foliage to different regions of the map. You can see it conceptually here with this map layout, which will have no edits, which will have a dry zone, so not having much foliage at all, but then most importantly, which will have some of these different tree types, or even the fungal forest, which is a part of FLORA in general. In some of the images, you could see the different environments and tree types that are getting added, and I think this is a pretty cool concept to make Fallout 4 feel a bit more unique as you traverse through it. There are a lot of green mods out there, but very few actually have variation from one region to another. Typically it's just there's trees or there's not trees. But now the fact that we're actually getting there's not trees, but also different types of trees is, funny enough, actually a significant improvement over the current choices. We've seen a few mods do this already, but again, with Spiffy Skytrooper's portfolio, this is definitely one to get excited for and to keep an eye on. Although separate from that, something else that has been a recent trend with Fallout 4 modding are what I would call Fallout 76 mods, taking some of the new content in Fallout 76 and recreating it for Fallout 4. Although Fallout 76 does have many issues, many items or even armors implemented with that game are actually pretty cool. The MG42 was just recently released for Fallout 4 and one of the most popular mods of 2019, but also more recently we did see the Excavator power armor. But from the mod author of that, we also are getting the Ultracite power armor, which is one of the other new power armor additions with Fallout 76. Used predominantly by the Brotherhood of Steel, the Ultracite power armor was mostly made to be an anti-scorched item. Of course, that not being super useful in Fallout 4, but separately it just looks cool. It has that iconic power armor look, but I could see this fitting really well into Fallout 4, especially if it is integrated into the level list of the Brotherhood of Steel, being both lore friendly, but also making that faction just look a little bit better than it does right now. But nowadays, of course, power armors in particular are not for everyone, so separate from that, we also do have the new Hermit armor. I don't know if that's going to be its official name, but thus far, that is how it has been referred to. It is very much so an outfit for Fallout 4, but one that looks like it would fit in well with the world overall. A Raider-esque outfit having a hoodie, gas mask, but also some spikes on your shoulders. There isn't a ton to talk about with this one, but Newermind has created a ton of great outfits thus far, and to me, this definitely is a very thematically appropriate addition for Fallout 4. But then for an update around one of my favorite mods of 2019, we do have SREP. What this is an expansion of an existing mod, the Service Rifle. SREP literally standing for the Service Rifle Expansion Project. It adds a ton of new features and customization options to that original mod. And this update is just doing that, but a little bit more. So in the more recently released image sets, you can see a variety of new attachments and customization options that will be coming in a future update. This ranging from things like scopes and sights that maybe you have seen on other weapons but will be new to this one in particular, but also barrel changes, several of which are actually pretty unique and things we haven't really seen in Fallout 4 modding in the past. Some of which are just color customization options and other ones are very different. But frankly, what I would say all of this does is actually give you more options to make your AR platform look almost exactly how you want it. When you take the Service Rifle as well as the SREP addition to that and even all of these new add-ons, there's a lot of different ways you can make this weapon look, which is fairly unprecedented. Few mods have this many customization options, and even fewer have this many customization options that actually look good. So overall, SREP is definitely one of the best weapon mods out there, even though it's just a mod for a mod. But speaking of weapon mods, even outside of that, we actually have some updates around Wars. Wars, otherwise known as the Weapon Addition and Replacement Suite, is aiming to replace many of the boring or uninteresting weapons in Fallout 4 with better alternatives. There's been a few releases as of late, such as with the Thompson, or even some releases around the sister mod with Peace, but also we've seen some new videos of animations for some of the upcoming editions of Wars. We can see how several of the weapons coming with this larger mod will also have support for bullet counted reload. That's a mod that basically makes it so after firing once, you only have to reload once, and not have to go through the entire reload animation. This gives you a good look at some of the new weapon additions, but separately we could specifically see animations on the Scorpion VZ, which is a particularly cool one. I think that's going to be one that actually fits in pretty well with Fallout 4. A much better alternative to just a full auto 10mm pistol, but also a pretty cool compact weapon. All around, Wars is coming along very nicely, and these videos just give us some insight as some of the progress being made over the past couple of weeks. But speaking of, one of the other things that actually is coming in 2020 that is technically included in Wars, but also is a separate mod, is the China Lake and Holorifle. This is an already released mod for Fallout 4 and frankly one of the best weapon mods out there thus far. But a Redux version of this incredible mod is planned, bringing a revamped take on the China Lake, which is a grenade launcher, but also the Holorifle, which appeared in one of the past Fallout games. From this, we could actually see some in the way of new attachments and just an overall better and cleaner look on the weapons themselves. It seems like this is going to be fairly comprehensive and almost entire rebuild of the weapons themselves. And although we hadn't really heard much of anything in a long while around this, just recently, a couple of weeks ago, we actually did get a new update indicating that progress is still being made and it still is something to look forward to. Although last but certainly not least, we do have the Accuracy International AX50. This is going to be a new bolt-action sniper rifle making its way into Fallout 4. This looks great. We've had a couple of bolt actions over the past few months, but not nearly enough. This being a very modern rifle firing the 50 BMG round, I think a lot of people will enjoy it in Fallout 4. It all around has a very cool aesthetic. We don't know too much about how this will be custom outside of the fact that it will have a unique and totally custom scope. Overall, this mod author has really delivered in the past though, so I am quite excited to see how he implements this one. But with all of that being said, it's really going to wrap it up for this video. As always again, hopefully you guys did enjoy, hopefully you found it informative. I will have links to everything I talked about down below in the description if you want to check out some of these mods for yourself. But otherwise, as always again, I do thank you for watching, and with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.